When we launched Remnant Radio back in July of 2017, we had no idea what the Lord would do with such a simple desire to help people break outside of their theological echo chamber. As the podcast grew, we discovered that our channel was a place where Christians could explore theology and church history and spiritual gifts without all the tribalism and fear of discourse that so frequently happens online. And now, years later, we look back and we can see God's kindness and goodness everywhere. Former New Agers and practitioners of the occult have testified to us that our podcast was used to help lead them to Christ. Viewers who were inspired by our discussions on theological discourse decided to go and resume their education, pursuing a formal education in seminary. We've heard from countless believers who have told us that Remnant Radio has helped move them from cessationism into full octane practitioners of spiritual gifts. Every year we hear from viewers and listeners who were once afraid of the charismatic world and are now seeing healings and prophecies and deliverance and the power of God in their own ministries. Over the past few years, we've had dozens of people reach out to us and say that Remnant Radio was the reason they decided to start their own theology podcast or charismatic podcast out of inspiration of our example, as weird as that is for me to say. And this year, we've reached a bit of a milestone with our online courses with the Word and Spirit School of Ministry. And we've had this school open for a couple of years, offering courses, and we've had over 1,000 students go through our course to take our Introduction to Spiritual Gifts or our Introduction to Christian Theology. And in 2026, we'll be launching our brand new course on deliverance ministry. All this to say that, man, every interview, every course, every conference, every testimony is possible because of viewers like you who support our ministry. We're a small team with a really big mission, and your generosity helps keep our staff going. The people who manage our courses, a man who book our guests and keep our content in front of the world, donors like you and your support is what helps keep our videos online, our podcast running, and our growing catalog of courses continuing to expand. Remnant Radio, I think, is needed now more than ever. Again, it's weird for me to say out loud, but I think it's true. The church needs a public space for theology, a public square, somewhere where the word and spirit are both honored and where all streams of the church can sit at the same table and where we can call balls and strikes on our own charismatic movement with clarity, conviction, and love. We want to continue making theological content, making the ivory towers of academia accessible to everyday believers around the world. And every month, hundreds of thousands of people watch and listen to our content that we produce. And as we step into this new year, we want to do even more to resource the body of Christ. So if the ministry of Remnant Radio has blessed you in any way, we ask that you consider partnering with us this year. We've got a link in the video description below that we encourage you, to give if you feel so led. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. And thank you so much for running with us as we continue this mission of word and spirit. Can't wait to see what God has in the coming years.